Have you ever taken a cutting of a plant and tried to propagate it, but it just didn't work? Let me tell you about one of the main reasons why cuttings oftentimes don't take that not a lot of people talk about. The reason that I'm talking about that a lot of people's cuttings or propagating fails is because of timing. So, what we're going to talk about is either the timing of the year or the timing of the life cycle of that plant. First, let's talk about the time of the year. So let's look at this waxleaf ligustrum. Waxleaf ligustrum is fairly easy to propagate from cuttings. It's a woody plant is what we call this because it does develop a woody stem. But whenever you want to take cuttings off of this, you don't want to do this in the fall or winter because right now these are all very mature foliage, mature leaves, and there's a reason for that. Woody plants, they grow in the spring and summer, and then they quit growing in the fall because they need these leaves to mature and be hardened off for winter time. So it does not have all of the growth hormones and chemical compounds that cause it to grow this time of year. And so your cuttings are going to be less successful if you take them in the fall or winter on your woody plants. Just like our human bodies, plants are governed by hormones and chemical reactions that are going on inside of them. And during different times of the year, they're going to produce growth hormones, which is going to stimulate growth. And then they're also going to produce flowering hormones, which will stimulate flowering. But those growth hormones are important when you want a plant to be able to root and grow quickly. And so if you take cuttings during times of the year when the growth hormones aren't there, you have a much lower chance of success. And that's why springtime is a great time to take cuttings off of most woody plants because you're going to see that new growth shooting out from the old stems. And that's a great time to go ahead and grab those cuttings while they're actively growing, and you're going to get a lot more roots in a lot faster time. Now, another mistake I see people make is they will try to take cuttings on plants that are actively flowering, and that's another no no. Things like poinsettias and chrysanthemums and roses are quite easy to propagate from cuttings, but you got to make sure you get the timing right in between flowering cycles because these plants are going to go through phases where they'll have a growth phase where they will put on growth. And then once they reach that size that they want to be for that moment, then they will convert all of those proteins and chemicals and hormones in them to the flowering stage. And so they'll grow, then they'll flower, and then they'll grow again, and then they'll flower again. And if you're trying to take cuttings during the flowering phase of these plants, they're not going to have a lot of luck. Now, each plant is going to have slightly different methods for propagating them, but if you want to have great success with propagating almost any plant, look for those times when they are actively growing and you've got a much better odds of making it work.